Welcome to a very special listening party. My name is Chime, and I am here with the artists themselves. This is Convexity. Say hello.
Hey, everybody.
Cool. So we decided we would do kind of like a podcast format for this listening party, so you can kind of get a little bit of the behind the scenes about the ideas behind the EP. And this will be interesting too, because I haven't talked to you about this at all, so I will probably be learning a lot about the EP myself. So before we get into the first track, do you want to kind of like introduce the EP a little bit? Anything you want to say about it?
Yeah, sure. So Timequake was heavily inspired by, a lot of the usual things that I take inspiration from. I take so much inspiration from just analog media, kind of vaporwave, synthwave kind of thing, kind of late 80s, early 90s, some Y2K stuff. I take so much inspiration from that for both my composition style and just for general aesthetic choices. And that was pretty much just the main inspiration going into the whole thing.
Yeah, just to kind of like encapsulate that world in, I guess, dubstep form, right?
Pretty much.
Cool. All right. Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive straight into track one. This is Timequake by Convexity.
What could you hope to gain?
That was Timequake by Convexity, and we have Convexity right here. So do you want to talk me through a little bit about the title track? Is there anything you wanted to mention for that?
Yeah, so I guess with the title track, it's just kind of a more sci-fi, I would say, than the rest of the tracks. Is kind of putting you in the position of somebody that is, directly looking at this rift in space of just like your timeline and then an alternate timeline kind of converging in a certain area, like right it's kind of like the biggest thing that I wanted to illustrate in that. So you're pretty much just sitting here on a ship, just kind of witnessing this kind of folding in front of you of timelines, and it's you're just kind of in awe, I guess, of what you're looking at. That's pretty much what I was trying to go for.
That's sweet. So unknowingly, I think with your instructions, I think I managed to get the artwork about right in that case, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the artwork, I would say, definitely encapsulates that.
Sweet. I'm glad. Cool. Yeah. So I guess what awaits us in front of us in this EP is like through the rift. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. So it's just a combination of things that you would witness in alternate timelines, as well as just the properties of the actual rift itself. And so I guess with other songs like Lattice and Duplicity, you're kind of getting more of the properties of what's actually happening. And then Network and Shatter are pretty much witnessing different timelines, or witnessing different points in time, is pretty much what I was going for there.
Cool. Well, let's dive right into the second track. This is Network.
Simple the internet isn't, but using it can be rather easy. In some ways, it's a lot like your car. You don't have to know how every single part works in order to drive to some wonderful places. All you need to use the internet are
a computer and a network connection. That connection could simply be a phone line and a modem like this one.
You're connected.
Oh, and one other thing. There is no Internet Corporation. No one owns the Internet. No one group controls or finances it. It's the result of a cooperative effort by a lot of organizations and people. At least, most of the time they cooperate.
You're connected.
That was Network by Convexity and is it Inktome?
Inktome, yeah.
It's not Inktome or anything.
No, it's Inktome. Like tome isn't a book.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So this is the only collab on the EP. Now I don't personally know Inktome or their music at all. Could you kind of like give them a little bit of an introduction to the Rushdown crew?
Yeah, of course. Inktome I've known for a few years at this point, and they make really interesting stuff. Just it's really hard to describe what they're going for with their music, but it's very vibrant and it's very, I don't know, it's really punchy and vibrant. It's so cool, and I've been wanting to collaborate with them for a while, and we actually started this collab kind of near when the pandemic started, and it's just kind of been sitting around, and it's gone through multiple iterations. Like the very first iteration sounds wildly different from what we actually came out with.
Yeah, I find that happens a lot with collaborations where you just
like,
bounce things off and then it becomes something completely different by the end.
Yeah, it sits around for a long time, and then you're like, wow, this sounds way too outdated. We gotta rework some stuff.
Yeah, sure. Cool. All right. Well, moving on to track 3. This is Lattice.
What we have here is evidence that the topology of the world is not the topology that we ordinarily see.
Okay, that was Lattice by Convexity, and kind of an ongoing, like, running joke in the Rushdown chat is how that ending snare. What even is that?
I've just been calling it the beep snare.
yeah. But it's interesting because it plays the role of a snare perfectly, even though it has like none of the properties of like a traditional dubstep snare. Is it playing like multiple tones too?
Yeah, it kind of is. It's kind of going through about 2 or 3 different tones. And, it's been a while since I've touched this project, and so I don't remember exactly how it's done, but it's multiple tones, kind of more pure tones going on there.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more inspired by other folks. I was inspired by producers like Euphorian and Holloman for these kinds of snares in particular. And something that I've been seeing recently is also Butte Noise, which I had forgotten was also a big inspiration for me. I actually wasn't thinking about it while I was producing, but then coming out of it, I was like, wow, it's kind of one of those subconscious inspirations, I guess. So I was definitely inspired by quite a few folks for the snare choices on Lattice. But I definitely wanted it to be a bit more weird. Lattice, I wanted to be the weirdest one because I envisioned like kind of this grid of energy, like kind of a cubic grid of energy that's kind of rotating around and it's kind of doing stuff. That's pretty much what.
Yeah, because lattice means like it's like a grid, isn't it? That the word refers to. So kind of like the grid, the invisible grid and like the fabric of reality. That's what I was kind of like. That's what I was getting from that tune. Sweet. Okay, we're moving on to track 4. This is Star Shatter.
You're watching the Weather Channel. This is your area's local forecast. Coming up next, information from across the nation here on the Weather Channel. Weather Channel's program schedule may be different than normal during the next half hour due to special weather coverage. Stay with us. A comprehensive update is just ahead on WeatherScope.
Currently in your area, 35 degrees with light rain.
On the Weather Channel, we will monitor the situation for you and continue to update you your weather.
That was Star Shatter. So yeah, we were just talking about the weather reports. I felt like the samples here do a lot to like suck you into that world. And from like the name Star Shatter, is this kind of like a weather report of almost like a meteorite exploding on whatever planet, or is there something else going on?
It's pretty much what's happening. Yeah, that's pretty close. What I was going for, I had more of a concrete idea for this one. I was inspired a lot by analog horror, stuff like Local 58 and other analog horror channels.
I had a feeling, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much the biggest inspiration for this one. And so I pretty much wanted to combine analog horror with melodic bass music. Just for kind of for fun, but also is just like, I guess like a fun challenge is pretty much. But so pretty much what's happening, and I guess it's not entirely obvious from just the audio alone, but combining it with Star Shatter it's basically your perspective of you watching TV as the sun is literally splitting apart. That's pretty much what's happening.
Oh, cool.
So as the sun is literally splitting apart into multiple pieces, you're sitting here and you hear a civil danger alert about an unknown meteorological event. They don't know what's happening on the ground. And so they're trying their best to explain what's actually happening. But you, being kind of like the irony that you are above the song and know Star Shatter, it's like, okay, something really weird is happening right now, but the people in the song, so to speak, don't know.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of another, I guess, alternate reality game, or I guess it's kind of could be counted as analog horror in some cases. I think it's the sun has disappeared or something like that. Are you aware of that?
I don't think I am.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think there's a Twitter account that just started. It was basically like the sun has disappeared, and they kind of tweet and kind of reveal more of the story of what's going on, and like there's videos as well. So it's interesting that kind of intersects with one of the tracks on the EP, even though like you hadn't heard of it. That's cool though. Yeah, definitely check that out.
I definitely will. It sounds like something I'd be into.
Sweet. All right, well, we are coming to the final track now, which is Duplicity. Here it is. That was Duplicity by Convexity, the final track on Timequake EP. So this is the only track that kind of differs, I guess, tempo-wise and genre-wise into more of like a drum and bass vibe. Is there anything you wanted to mention about this one?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I was thinking of going into it. Was I want to do something that's not dubstep for this. It's just kind of to wrap things up and to just do something a little bit different. And so there was a lot of different challenges that I tried with this, because I actually had never done this before, where I combined color bass and melodic stuff, kind of more melodic bass music elements with drum and bass, where other producers have done that so well in like kind of the future drum and bass genres. And so I kind of wanted to try my own hand at that and just kind of combine it with more of my own composition and sound design style. So that was pretty much what I was thinking going into that one.
Cool, yeah. I mean, it definitely feels a part of this same world created by this EP, in terms of sound design and just kind of theming as well. So before we finish up, I wanted to ask, is this kind of like a new style you're thinking of continuing with Convexity, or is this just like a one-off kind of conceptual piece in terms of this EP?
I really want to continue with this. The first EP that I would say was kind of this whole style I actually released in 2019 called Me and My Shadow. And it's also kind of got a lot of the analog kind of aesthetic that I also went for in Timequake. And so I kind of feel like that in general, the whole analog aesthetic is pretty much what I want Convexity to be from here on out. And so a lot of the unreleased stuff that I have also kind of fits the same vibe. Late 80s, early 90s kind of instrumentation and doing stuff like that. I definitely want to continue in that direction, in the analog direction in general. I derived so much inspiration from it.
Sweet. I mean, that's exactly the answer I wanted to hear, because I think it's definitely it's super unique, and I really enjoy like the combination of these different concepts within bass music, because it's when you get a golden combination, like string of different elements together mixed, that's when a signature style really like flourishes and comes to life. So in your case, like obviously you've got like the color bass sort of vibe underneath everything, but you've got like this analog horror aesthetic, but also you've got like the kind of jazzy chords and kind of more out there sort of harmony than you might expect in dubstep. And is it Shatter, the one that's like between two different keys as well?
Yep, that one is in a half key. I think it's in D half sharp minor. Which is interesting, because it coming out of like Lattice into that one, you kind of get that weird like adjustment period where you're between Lattice and Shatter, it tunes down 50 cents. Yeah, so it feels almost like, like a tape loop that's kind of warping a little bit out of time and that sort of thing. So that perfectly fits into the aesthetic as well. Love it, mate. Thanks for sending it over to us, and I hope everyone listening enjoys it. Please go stream, download. The link will be in the chat, and that's Convexity with Timequake EP, also featuring Inktome. Thanks so much. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up? I just wanted to thank, I wanted to thank Chime, wanted to thank Sharks, Landon, all the folks over at Rushdown for helping me bring all this together. Without your help, I don't even know what I would have done with any of these tracks. But y'all really pulled it together and created something special out of what I could provide, and it was fantastic. And I'm very grateful for it, and I'm also grateful for all the support of the folks listening, and really hope that you're enjoying the songs. And I'm just really excited about those.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you, man. All right, it's out now. Go get it. And if you wanna join us on the Discord after this to like talk about the EP, whatever your favorite tracks are and that sort of thing, there'll be a link in the chat or in the description for that too. But this is Chime signing off, and yeah, big thanks to Convexity for joining too.
All right. Yeah, it's Convexity also signing off. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Bye for now.
Timequake.